Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Thursday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Aina Kweyo. In the news tonight, Minister of Health Kalumbi Shangula this morning launched several new sexually transmitted infection treatment guidelines. The last review of these guidelines was in 2008-2009. Shangula said that these guidelines aim to equip healthcare workers to be better prepared when dealing with STIs. He added that these new guidelines were necessitated by the rise in new bacteria and STIs and recognize the social and cultural aspect that attributes to the spread of STIs, saying the government will procure all necessary medication and equip to aid with this. Have a look.
I'm pleased to join you here this morning to celebrate a significant milestone in our country's healthcare system. It is my privilege to launch the 10th edition of the National Guidelines for the Management of Sexually Transmitted Infections, a crucial tool that will shape the way we address and combat the challenges we face in preventing and effectively managing sexually transmitted infection in Namibia. I express my sincere gratitude to the United States Agency for International Development as well as Project Hope Namibia for their unwavering support and funding, which supported the review of the second edition and the compilation of the third edition, which we are launching here today. We cherish the partnership we have established with our development cooperation partners, which is testimony to the strength of our collaboration and shared commitment to improving the health and well-being of all the Namibians. The launch we are witnessing today marks a culmination of many months of intense preparation and in-depth work to review and update the sexually transmitted infections management guideline.
Footsteps for Africa CEO and founder Austin Cameron expressed elation as he renovated the library at Groot Secondary School was handed over this morning. The refurbished facility, promises to enhance educational opportunities for students in the community. The funding for the renovation of the school's library was secured by the Footsteps for Africa organization. Have a look.
Children. I'm really happy to see that this project directly supports so many of the commendable initiatives that your school and Namibia as a whole are currently doing, such as establishing a culture of reading with your national literacy program and ICT initiatives and your 4IR strategies. At the same time, while it supports these initiatives that are ongoing, this project does not come from policy. It comes from passion and it comes from love. You may be wondering, what is an organization based in the United States doing here? Why are we helping your school? And I want you to understand that it's because I truly have a love for you and for the need to want to help those students who are already helping themselves. You are doing so much to sacrifice for your education. Your school and your leaders have such a passion for you, and it is so humbling to see how much they truly love you. I feel so much love for you as well. This is truly a project of passion. And in addition to the charge from your leaders to take advantage of this library, I also hope that you will recognize what this project represents by way of the love that we have for you and our desire to make Namibia and the children of Namibia more successful in their education.
Dutch flag carrier KLM has voiced its intent to resume service between Namibia and the Netherlands, the Namibia Airports Company announced following its recently concluded annual general meeting. The return of the carrier to Hosea Kutako was part of the NAC's Route Development Initiative, which seeks to attract more airlines to Namibia. KLM's service to Namibia was suspended in 2020 following the outbreak of COVID-19. NAC CEO Basi Oerab said as an outflow of initiative, major airlines such as Eldevies and KLM were expected to commence flight operation to Namibia within the next 12 months. Other airlines are eyeing entry to Namibia also includes British Airways and German carrier Condor Airlines, with discussions in the offering to expand or increase the frequency of flights into Namibia. Oerab also said that management met with 5 European airlines, namely British Airways, Condor Airlines, Eldevies, Europe Wings Discover, and KLM in April 2023 to prepare the groundwork for future international flights from these potential and existing carriers. The recently launched Zambian Airways was also looking to expand its service offering into Namibia. Moving over to our next story, self-exiled Namibian to Germany, Professor Joseph Disheko, who left the country 4 years ago, at the time blaming his fallout with President Hage Geingob as the cause, now says he wants to return to his country of birth. From being labeled as an intellectual prostitute back in 2008, a man without a house and a failed administrator, Disheko is prepared to make amends with his enemies and return to his motherland. Disheko in February 2019 left for Germany, where he is employed as a visiting lecturer at the University of Bonn. In an exclusive interview with Namibian Sun, the 68-year-old academic expressed his ambitions to return to his motherland, saying that he is willing to swallow his pride for the sake of peacemaking with those whom he might have offended. However, he added that he shall only return on condition that the ruling SWAPO party apologizes to him for the years of victimization, vilifying and public insults he had suffered at the hands of some SWAPO leaders. He also said that an assurance from government system which made him feel unsafe in Namibia that his life will not be at risk will see him return to Namibia as soon as possible. Moving over to our next story, a farmer from Otjiwarongo, J.L. Botha, has found 13 poached oryx on his farm. The three were still alive but caught in snare and had to be put down. Let's have a look.
Je kan nou die strukdraad sien van die boom af waar hy vas is en waar hy hom verstrengel het. Dit moes eintlik om die nek gewees het, nou het hy 'n agterbeen gevang, maar die agterbeen is tot niet, so hierdie bok sal nie lewe nie.
J.L. Botha, 'n boer van die Otjiwarongo omgewing, het vanmiddag op 'n derde lewende gemsbok in 'n draadstryk op sy plaas afgekom. Hy moes ook die bok van kant maak. Dit volg nadat hy 14 gestroopte gemsbokke op sy plaas gevind het.
Ek neem nou hier 'n videoetjie net om te wys hoe die area lyk, waarin die strikke nou gestel word. En ons gaan nou hier op ene afkom. Soos jy kan sien, daar lê die groot gemsbok wat nou gevang is. Hierdie is 'n nekstrik wat verkeerd gegaan het en hy is aan die agterbeen gevang. Goed, waar ons nou net gestop het, jy kan nou die strukdraad sien van die boom af waar hy vas is en waar hy hom verstrengel het. Dit moes eintlik om die nek gewees het, nou het hy 'n agterbeen gevang, maar die agterbeen is tot niet, so hierdie bok sal nie lewe nie. Dit is nou ongelukkig wat nou aangaan. Daar het ons hom nou doodgeskiet. Die mense is nou besig om kele af te sny Hierdie is 'n pragtige groot gensbokbil, baie gesond, baie mooi, heeltemal onnodig.
In our Story of the Day segment, the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology wants to reduce the cost of data. After the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
The Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Emma Theophilus, announced that her ministry, in collaboration with Communication Regulatory Authority, is looking to reduce the cost of data. The announcement was made at the International Conference on Postgraduate Research at NEPAM, which continues tomorrow. The conference is spearheaded by the University of Namibia.
We have embarked on numerous programs and policy interventions to ensure that it's possible. We've embarked on digital literacy, because when you talk to the mobile operators and say put up 4G and 5G network towers, they tell you that the return on investment is low because people would rather use their mobile phone only to send a text message or to make a phone call. They're not using data. They don't have a smartphone because either they cannot afford it or they just don't know how to navigate it. Secondly, with the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, CRAN, we're working ensuring that we reduce the cost of data, to ensure that mobile operators share infrastructure to reduce the cost on infrastructure costs, but more importantly, that we maybe look at tax incentives to ensure that we're able to import or develop gadgets in our own country for every citizen to have access to these very important devices.
Moving on to community news, Reptile Mineral Resources and Exploration handed over textbooks to Moon Secondary School after the break.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Reptile Mineral Resources and Exploration handed over grade 10 and 12 physics and biology textbooks to Moon Secondary School, valued at 24,000 Namibian dollars. They also donated sports apparel to Danesek High School and Flamingo Secondary School in Falfish Bay. Frida Moloto reports.
Education is very important, and especially finishing the school with a grade 12. I learned, for example, last week when the governor gave his address of the state of the region, that the passing rate last year for the candidates to proceed into tertiary education was very low, and it's very much alarming that only 25% of the students passed grade 12, and that is just, I'm just pointing that out. So please, put in all the effort that you can to finish your school successfully, get a good grade 12, and then take advantage of all the opportunities that are in the country, and particularly here in the Irungu region. So, good luck.
Thank you this morning to really express our heartfelt gratitude, as well as to extend our warm vote of thanks to the Reptile Mineral Resources and Exploration Pty for your generous donation this morning, sponsorship of textbook, the netball as well as soccer kits to the three schools, that is Moon Secondary School as a Society of Achievers, the Mighty Danesek High, as well as the Flamingo. This is our child, our baby is always lying next to us. First and foremost, we would like to express our deep appreciation to the company for recognizing the importance of education and the sports in nurturing the young ones, the young minds and talents of our community. This contribution, or this generate contributions of textbooks as well as the soccer and netball kits will go a long way adding value to our schools.
After the break, we return with economic news. Stay with us.
This is Africa. Good morning.
My name is Aina Raizakaya alongside Diana Master.
In the ANC conference in December. So starting off with the cycling.
Africa, good morning. Do have a lovely
Minister Monica Mchangwa has said that
with the soccer, the English Premier League continued, the biggest game being.
On that note, it is all our love, all our light. In economic news tonight, the repo rate differential between Namibia and South Africa is up to 50 basis points following the South African Reserve Bank's decision to keep the repo rate unchanged at 8.25%. The Bank of Namibia increased the repo rate by 100 basis points year to date. The repo rate currently stands at 7.75%, the fourth monetary policy announcement of the year by the Bank of Namibia is expected to take place on the 16th of August. Now let's have a look at the economic indicators proudly brought to you by Bank Windhoek. The Namibian dollar trades at 23 Namibian dollars and 1 cent to the British pound. And 90 Namibian dollars at 94 cents will get you €1. All commodities have dropped except for Brent crude oil, which has increased by 0.12%. Now gold has dropped to 0.40% and copper 0.66%. In our international news, self-defense classes tackle South Africa's rape problem after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the
15. The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Between January and March 2023, more than 10,500 rape cases were reported throughout South Africa, according to police. Many more cases go unreported, with some of the world's worst rates of violent crimes. Those who can afford it often take self-defense classes. For those that can't pay, this instructor Dominic Olsen, who teaches a rape defense class to women in his disadvantaged community. Let's have a look.
Fear of rape is commonplace in South Africa. Between January and March 2023, more than 10,500 rape cases were reported throughout the country, according to police. Many more cases go unreported. With some of the world's worst rates of violent crime, those who can afford it often take self-defense classes.
As I take her, stay with her. Stay with her.
For those that can't pay, there's instructor Dominique Olsen, who teaches a rape defense class to women in disadvantaged communities.
And the minute you get to the rape defense section of things, they shut down because it's so personal and it's so close. And for a lot of people, it's close to home.
She uses movements based on Israeli combat system Kala to train them to defend themselves against attackers.
And this sweeps into your first control that you all know. Okay.
Malisela Makonyane, a father from a suburb of Pretoria, sent his daughter on Dominique's 2-day course.
Parents must ensure that as a start, this becomes part of the agenda of the everyday conversation among ourselves, with our children, when we go to these meetings at school, in our communities, everywhere. We need to start saying, but we are putting butler doors. What about our children?
Malisela's daughter, Camo, is aware that even with training, such a situation would be a challenge to get out of.
Dominic told me that she's not looking to get me out of there without scratches, or it's not pretty. The whole thing isn't pretty. And I'm going to leave the fight scratched up, bruised, and hurting. But as long as I got out of there alive and I've survived, and I think that's very impactful to me.
But defence classes should be just one weapon among an arsenal to tackle South Africa's issues with gender-based violence, says women's rights activist Rosie Matone.
So by saying rape defense training for those people who haven't had it, if they get raped, do they deserve it because they didn't do the training? And like these are the different type of questions that we do need to ask ourselves. And then also, it's also, we've always put the blame on the victim or the survivor. And now we need to start transferring the blame onto the perpetrators and also onto the enablers and the people who have protected the perpetrators.
Great. Now this
Let's have a look at the weather predictions for tomorrow. Now, in the northern region, the maximum temperature ranges from 29.1 degrees to 30.6 degrees Celsius with clear conditions throughout the day. In the coastal region, the maximum temperatures ranges from 15 to 23.9 degrees Celsius with clear conditions throughout the day. We return with the sports package courtesy of a Sports Rep.
Good evening and welcome to your Sunset News Sports section. I am Ashwin Berry. Brave Gladiators interim coach Paulus Shipanga has expressed satisfaction over the growth of the senior women's national team. The coach said he feels that most of the players have shown growth in terms of tactics and how he wants them to play. Namibia recently qualified to the next round of the Olympic qualifiers after beating Equatorial Guinea 2-0 on aggregate. Namibia's senior national women's team interim coach Paulus Shipanga will have to apply for the position in hopes to continue leading what he calls an improved team. Deb Marine Namibia Premiership club Okahanja United FC has plans to keep 70% of its players for next season, club chairman Kongo Hinjo has revealed. He also announced that the club will hold a series of meetings in a bid to prepare for the 2023-24 campaign. The first meeting will be between the executive before they meet with the supporters club to brief them on the way forward, he said. Okahanja United, however, remains skeptical about starting their pre-season before the Namibia Football Association announces the starting dates of the 2023-24 season. And some Kruger top supporters and members are demanding that the recent executive election be nullified. The elections that took place on Saturday are said to have been unfair. A faction accuses those in charge of using players playing in the Kavunda Soccer League to participate in the election. The group's spokesperson Hangura Paula Sungula said that they will follow Article 18 of the Namibian Constitution Administrative Justice to seek recourse. The group also rejected the club's financial reports. That's all we have for you in the sports section. Have a good evening.
Let's get into the highlights from tonight's broadcast. Dutch flag carrier KLM has voiced its intent to resume services between Namibia and the Netherlands. The Namibian Airports Company announced following its recently concluded annual general meeting. Self-exiled Namibian to Germany Professor Joseph Disheko, who left the country 4 years ago, at the time blaming his fallout with President Hage Geingob as the cause, says he wants to return to his country of birth. Brave Gladiators interim coach Paulus Shipanga expressed satisfaction over the growth of the senior women's national team. The coach said he feels that most of the players have shown growth in terms of tactics and how he wants them to play. Namibia recently qualified for the next round of the Olympic qualifier after beating Equatorial Guinea 2-0 on aggregate. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Please do make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, which is called Oneuptwo. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This has been Sunset News, so please don't end your day without us. Good night.